Like I gathered last night just for something for my daughter who is in college and her friends from high school, their moms, and everybody's talking. And I realized, then it got to me to talk about her and what's going on. And oh my God, I was like, I'm going to start freaking crying. Because I said, this is my exact words. I said, I haven't stopped moving so I don't feel.
Mm.
And everybody kind of was like, oh my God. And I was like, I can't even. I was like, I don't know what she does with her life. I don't. And I said, look, I want to cry right now. But then I said, you know what? But I'm handling the best way I can
Yeah.
with what I know in order for me to have this separation and for her to have this life. I was like, but I'm doing things trying to be a little different than I was before because I almost felt like a bad mother because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. Like, oh my, before I even got to the event, I was already like feeling like a shitty mother, right? I'm not a shitty mother, but I already had told myself, and this is ongoing things that I continue being below the line.
Yeah.
That I was criticizing myself from being already like, I don't know, I'm not good enough. I'm not doing well. And then when I said those words out loud, I was like, oh, it's because you're not dealing with it. You're not actually saying, yeah, it's pretty, it is pretty, it could be gut wrenching when I think about the realization that she is so far that I can't see her, that I miss her, that I don't go to her room, like all these things. So anyway, try to stay above the line, guys.
Welcome to the Delulu Magic Podcast. I'm Paola.
And I'm Gabby. We want to welcome everybody back today.
Today we're talking about being under the line and over the line. It's something you sent me a podcast, and I thought it was really interesting, especially because yesterday I felt like I was under the line all day. And it was one of those things, even though we talk about like the Delulu magic, Deluluing yourself, sometimes I don't know. It's like I was just almost like where I just wanted to have a tantrum and be in that mood all day. It's like I almost didn't want to. I did want to feel better, but also I just wanted to hide and be like, I'm that victim kind of like mindset.
Yeah.
And I did. I literally laid, like, I was working because I pulled out my computer and all my stuff around me. But then it was almost like, I'm going to do Netflix while I do some work, like all these like excuses. Finally, by the end of the day, my husband was like, come on, like, let's go to, it was a networking event, so it wasn't like something fun. But I was like, at first I was like, no. Then I was like, let me get dressed, put some makeup on. And I feel like that helped me kind of get out of my funk. But I do find it really interesting. And I know you've been reading a lot about this and the nervous system regulation, which I think is the first thing I should have gone to. And it's like, I know this, but again, I know a lot of stuff. But sometimes I don't do it in that moment, right? I was just like,
that's actually being human.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, as much as I think we could have all the knowledge and retain it, but we're not going to because your day is full of all of that. And I think that's actually part of having the experience.
But yeah, the
instead of looking for that constant where it's like, I just have to stay in this constant moment of, nothing. I'm not going to be this person under the line. Should we strive to be over the line? Yes. Which that's like, this is from like Brené Brown, which I know that you did Atlas of the Heart. I think that's where she started to talk about it. Obviously, she started way back with like vulnerability and all those things. And we're going to talk a little bit about all that today. But really, like, it struck me, this last book that just came out. And I listened to her own podcast and Dare to Lead, and it talked about it. And as I listened, I was like, wow. Like, she was talking about in her organization, like with work moments, and about how, like, an example was like being under the line. It's kind of like you're as a leader, you're like, I just want this shit to be done, or when can we be done? And you're not thinking of everybody else, your team members, what they're going. That's like the example of being under the line. So let's use it as for me as a mother, that I'm like, my kid is going through something, and I'm like, oh God, I have to go through this shit. Instead of, and engaging at that moment, being under the line means that I'm going to be mean. I'm not going to be understanding. I'm not going to be regulated. So realizing when that clicked when I was listening, this was last week, that I was like, oh my God, I have lived for decades that way. And I have wrote it and been like, I am in the right, and I'm going to be, nobody knows what they're doing. I'm a victim, or, I'm the only one I'll
Yeah.
take care of
So
it.
you said it was like, I think the
Yeah.
three things she said
Yes.
struck me
Yeah.
for sure. And I'm
Yeah.
so glad you sent it. It was the victim,
Yes.
which is
Nobody knows. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. It's. Is it I'm the only one that knows how to fix it.
the
Nobody
hero.
understands me. And then the hero, like, fine, I'll just take care of it.
Yeah, I'm
You
gonna
know.
do it myself. Oh,
Yes.
and the villain. So
Yes.
the victim, which
Yeah.
is like the
Yeah.
like I have to,
Nobody
yeah,
understands.
nobody understands.
Yeah.
The hero, fine, I'll just do it myself.
Yeah.
Like I do everything,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So now you're the hero. I'm gonna take care of it.
Yes.
And then
And the villain's kind of like,
the
I think
villain.
the same, like, well, you're the bad one because I'm like,
yeah, like I don't care if I'm
F-ish.
like if
Yeah.
I look like a jerk.
Yes.
This is how it's gonna be.
So that living through that is kind of like what you were explaining your example from yesterday. It's kind of like, I'm gonna be, nobody understands. This is a lot for
I was
me.
super in that.
So I don't want to, and I'm gonna sulk, and I'm not gonna actually acknowledge that, hey, today I'm not. And I think that for me, and it's only been a few days, but actually being like, where am I today?
Yeah.
Am I, because where it is so weird to do that though.
It
like,
is
to actually examine like my own feelings, because I just want to get up and go and
especially
not
us
think
that
about.
we used to like avoid our feelings like the plague. Like I did not want to. I only wanted to feel peace and joy and happiness, and everything else I'm gonna like shove to the side because I'm just not gonna deal with it.
Yeah.
But now, like hearing you say, I'm evaluating how I feel, like how you wake up, and being that intentional.
Yeah. Or even when you're having conversations, like, let's go back to the work thing. If you're in a work environment and you can feel yourself that, we are of a different generation, I'll call it, where, I find we tend to have not a lot of patience, but we have a lot of expectations, because we're like, we've done it. Why can't you?
Yeah.
Right.
Why do you have
Like,
boundaries?
why do I have to,
like we didn't have.
Why do I have to hold your hand? Like, well, what do you mean you don't? Like that kind of mind where we're just trying to go, where things have changed, and having to sit now and acknowledge that not everything is the way we want it to be, and we can't continue coasting that way in any aspect of our lives. Right. It's realizing, hey, that's not how you should be.
It's not the healthiest.
And it's not,
way.
And you're not regulated.
Yeah.
Right. And I think going into being regulated means you're gonna have to be vulnerable and be like, oh God, that should not be talking today.
Yeah.
Because maybe today is like a silent day, because I'm not feeling good. Maybe I need to be removed. Maybe I don't need to be in that meeting. I don't need to have that conversation, because I'm not going to be
the most pleasant person.
The most regulated. Again, you're not going to be like, okay, I can handle this, and it's not going to throw me off into that those moments.
Absolutely. No, I think you just don't pay attention that the fact that you're like regulating your nervous system.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And the way that you go into things, like yesterday, I'm glad I stayed home versus like trying to be out and engaging where maybe I'm triggered a little bit more. And especially I think in the work environment and personal, I don't know why this wasn't a thing. And hey, I need a moment. Like, right, you're talking with your boss, or you had a hard day, and somebody's speaking to you in a way that maybe they are under the line, right? And so they're coming at you a certain way. How are you going to react in a normal, like, self-regulated way? Sometimes you have to be like, you know what? Let's take a beat. Let's maybe
pause.
take 15 minutes and step away, and let's get back on this call. And being able to be vulnerable enough to say, hey, Gabby, you said this and it made me feel this way. And maybe you didn't even recognize that you're saying it just because you're in your feelings and you're not thinking about how it's affecting me, right? But for me, it was so personal, let's say, right? And so I think being vulnerable enough, because it is hard to say, hey, boss, or hey, husband, or hey, kid, or my friend, right? My child, especially I think with that, like, you said that and it just made me feel in this way and it put me under the line. I feel like that's such a language that the world can use so much more of, because then it makes you feel empathy, and it makes you feel like, well, you're human just like I'm human, and sometimes I'm not going to take things the right way, or I'm just in a mood, and maybe we don't even talk about it today because my whole day is just, I'm in that mood, and this isn't going to go well. And right, if it isn't going to go well, then no one's going to understand each other. If you're both in, I think what she talks about is like your amygdala, you're in fear, so you're in fear, and all you're going to do is like want to protect.
Yes.
Right? Because you're in fight or flight. So you're like, you're coming at me. And to me, you're a bear and I'm about to fight you.
Of course. You don't know. You don't realize that. I took like notes because I did the book. I've been doing the audio book, but it talked a lot about that. being right. So being our nervous system is very much affected by it. And it says like basically where we're under the line, it almost feels like we're in survival mode.
Yeah.
So we tend to get very tense. We tend to get like tight chest and shallow
And
breath.
jaw.
And you're like, and when you're above the line, it's calm, almost like where you're curious, you have connection, you're creative, you have a little bit more courage, all that stuff. So we all tend to, I think, society, we're all coasting on under the line
Yeah.
because it's just very hard. So our nervous system is kind of hiding.
I feel like I'm holding
Yeah.
on to the line, like, but right below.
Yeah.
I'm like I'm trying to
So
come up sometimes.
what did I learned this too. That's what I wanted to say about it. That we tend to do for women, we tend to go into that people pleasing is also part of
Yeah.
this because we are kind of like a fawn, and then we're just kind of like living in our anxiety, and we start shrinking to keep ourselves safe, because then if we go kind of, we stay in that below, right? We're not regulated, so we don't know how to be vulnerable, like you said. So we don't know what to say, any of that, what's been suppressed. And
So I
it
just wanna
bottles
make
up.
this good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we pretend. That's also kind of like, it's very opposite of holding off and saying, I need some time. Like
Yeah.
we all still need to deal with it, That's
Yeah.
like the paradox. She talks a lot about that we all need to be okay with having both. Like,
Yes.
hey, I need to remove myself, but I am going to have to handle it.
Yes.
Like I can't just say,
I can't just flee.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I
no,
used to do.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Now it's like I need a moment, but like let's
Yeah,
come back to it.
eventually, yeah.
I used to do a lot, and my husband would know this, like especially business meeting, like when things were getting escalated, because I don't like confrontation.
Yes, yeah.
But I'd be like, okay, everybody, let's take a beat. That was like my thing.
Yes, yeah.
But I'm like, can we take a beat? But I don't want to come back to the
Oh,
conversation. I just want to like remove,
Yeah.
because in my head, I'm thinking everybody's going to
Yes.
be more calm and figure it out. And then there won't be that conversation, but
Mhm.
the conversation must be had. You can't
Yes.
sweep things under the rug.
Yes, because that's how you resolve things.
Because then I had a rug with a lot of stuff under.
Oh my gosh. And then it leads to a lot of, we talked about the word rage and resentment and, all the other unpleasant things that, we should definitely be confronting. I don't think those need to be put away, because it just causes, obviously illness and all kinds of things.
Yeah, for sure. I was talking with a friend that I hadn't seen in a while, and it was just interesting because I think we're all going through it. We're just in a very fast-paced world, and we have a lot, juggling 20,000 things, and
Mhm.
it's so much. And as we were talking, what I loved was, before I would have seen somebody that I hadn't seen in a long time, and I feel like it would have been more superficial. How are you? How are the
Mhm.
kids? Show me photos. How's your health? All that.
Yeah.
So what we're up to, and I'm gonna give you the good highlights.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
Highlight reel.
Look at my house. The kids are graduating. Oh, we went on vacation. Whatever.
Yes.
But it was like just real. We talked. It was funny because it was like almost like we jumped into it. Like, this is what the last 10 years have been. And girl, this was crazy. This was great. But
Yeah.
just being vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I was talking about, she was like, I'm so glad you said that, because sometimes you feel alone and you feel crazy. You feel like you're the only one that's going through that, right? And it was the whole like of the hiding, of knowing that you have so much to do, knowing that there's people depending on you, but you're in such a state of overwhelm, or in so below the line, in such fear and such like fight or flight, that you just freeze. You can't do anything. And that's kind of what I felt yesterday. I was in a little bit of like freeze, and I was trying to get myself out of it with like work, but really I should have just like thought about, let me go for a walk. I didn't even want to go outside. Again, I was in my later I was like, okay, now I'm going to go look at the moon and all that. Or tapping, and us just realizing that the nervous system, you can do Lulu, because I love it, and affirmations, but if your nervous system isn't regulated, it's hard to accept.
Yeah.
Like, okay, that this is real, because you're like in your head, you're just like, spiraling out.
Yeah, and your mind creates it.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, the good or the bad. So feeling, having those feelings, and first engaging with somebody and being very open and kind of exposing yourself almost like raw, I would say. There's a physical and like load off of you. And even just the fact that somebody's listening to you, because I don't think, well, maybe I don't know. People might be looking for help or solutions, but I think a lot of us that go through things that are related to mental health, or just in general, the way life is. I said a lot of us want an outlet, want comfort, right? Want somebody to just listen and be like, hey, yeah, you're not alone.
crazy. Yeah.
You're not, yeah, there's no such thing as that, and thank you for sharing that with me. And that you go, like, you leave and you're like, okay, it's very, soothing, like to your heart,
Yes.
right? And to your soul, because there's another human that is like, sees you, and being seen is like part of being vulnerable. And, all of us like to hide and have these masks on, but then we end up having like, 1,000 masks, and then you don't know how long when do you begin to even find yourself. So I think whenever you make the moments to connect and take them off, it shows how, how much courage it takes to be open and to be accepted. So you could start going like above the line, and you're not just repressing so much and holding and going into, I'm gonna call it like pretend, because you're just actually not really living. You're just going through it, putting on this is what I need to be, and you're not, like I said, examining how you're feeling.
Yeah, no, that's beautifully said. Imagine how confusing that is for your brain, and just for like the overwhelm of like, which mask am I gonna put on right now, like, because you can't be like your authentic.
Yeah, and then it comes too from for muscle memory, because we've done it for so long, so we don't even know when we start to do what we've been doing, you and I, like, we've done the work, like I've been in a lot of therapy, and I see the changes in myself. But man, like I caught myself this week. I had a situation and I was back in it. I was like, oh yes, I am people pleaser. I will rescue everybody. I will fix it all. And then I went to bed because I'd had a long day. And I told you, I was like, I put myself to bed literally like 8:30, turned the phone off, and I was like laying there for about 40 minutes. And I was like, I could feel my blood pressure increasing. And I was like, what's going on? Literally talking to like this, like, what happened? What am I doing? And I had so much clarity. I was like, nope, that's what you used to do. That is no longer what we do now. So go to bed. When you get up in the morning, you do what you need to do, because you're not going back to that.
Yeah.
So
I love that.
This was Monday. This is like ongoing. Like we do, like we talked about, we've had so much fun. Things do happen, but it is an ongoing struggle. And for me, I love how much I love learning. And the more I listen to things, the more I read things or I hear people, and I'm like, you know what, that's actually how you change it. And being vulnerable with myself, because I always thought it was be vulnerable with others, or be willing to, be courageous. Now I'm like, with me, like telling myself, that's not what we're doing. We're going to be brave in the sense where we're going to remember your boundaries, what they're for. They're for you, and to be able to be this person you are and you want to be. And I want to remain, as close to my values as I can be. And that means facing my own shit.
Yeah. And I freaking love that you did that, like the way you're making it sound, without how we would have done it before, is with judgment, being like, why are you like, like the judgment and the like, you're right. But you did it like with more compassion.
No, I wanted to go into
like
victim. Don't worry. Before I went to bed, I was going into victim role. It was quickly happening. Like I could feel it. I was like, oh, it's always me, and I'm always having to be, and whatever. And then I was like, nope, you need to go to bed. Like that's you've had a long day. I got over like a virus last week, and I was like, nope. Like I was really like tuning into me, and I think that's helped, like listening and reading things again, that I'm like, okay, there's proven facts, like neuroscience, psychologists, there's like all these experts that are like, this is what you have to actually do to have in your life. So I think you did, I can tell you that I think you did a good job, but it probably would have been like more if like actually kicking in some action, like, but like let me go for a walk for a minute. Cause that's helps you
for sure.
So, and sometimes too, though,
like I don't want, like, listen, I know
I have had days. I've had a couple of days that I just want to have a fit, and I want to just let me be.
Yeah.
And if I want to be like full of melancholy, let me be.
Yes.
Like I gathered last night just for something for my daughter who is in college, and her friends from high school, their moms, and everybody's talking, and I realized, then it got to me to talk about her and what's going on. And oh my God, I was like, I'm going to start freaking crying. Because I said, this is my exact words. I said, I haven't stopped moving, so I don't feel. And everybody kind of was like, oh my God. And I was like, I can't even, I was like, I don't know what she does with her life. I don't. And I said, look, I want to cry right now. But then I said, you know what? But I'm handling the best way I can with what I know in order for me to have this separation and for her to have this life. I was like, but I'm doing things trying to be a little different than I was before, because I almost felt like a bad mother, because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that. Like, oh my, before I even got to the event, I was already like feeling like a shitty mother, right? I'm not a shitty mother, but I already had told myself, and this is ongoing things that I continue being below the line.
Yeah.
That I was criticizing myself from being already like, I don't know, I'm not good enough, I'm not doing well. And then when I said those words out loud, I was like, oh, it's because you're not dealing with it. You're not actually saying, yeah, it's pretty, it is pretty, it could be gut wrenching when I think about the realization that she is so far, that I can't see her, that I miss her, that I don't go to her room, like all these things, So anyway, try to stay above the line, guys.
Wow. The thing I also love, though, and thank you for sharing that, because I know that has to be hard, and I understand like the whole like where you're just like, I'm just gonna keep going because I'm gonna be so tired by the end of the day, I'm just gonna pass out and not like think about it. But the thing I also love, and I don't know if this sounds petty, but is that people that I think we admire, like Brené Brown, like Lewis Howes, like Danny Morrell. I love it when they're like, I feel below the line. Like, it's like, I feel that dysregulation. Or Danny Morrell, when he was talking about how he did a podcast and he was like, oh my God, what did I say? Did I share too much?
Don't release it.
Right. Don't release that. Because I'm like, oh, not that I didn't see them as human, but sometimes things, we all evolve so much that then you got it together. Like, do you just delulu yourself all day, or do you, like, are you in the positive all day? So I like to hear that, because it's realistic, and it makes me feel, maybe again, because I don't know if it's a petty, but I'm like, oh, me too. I feel like that sometimes.
No, but it's like the human experience is what I'm saying. Like, I thought, no, I'm great. I'm gonna get to my turn. I'm good. And then I started speaking. I was like, I'm not well, guys. Obviously, I have, I'm handling it this way because I don't know what else to do. But I'm trying to use tools as well.
Yeah, that sounds like when I used to go to therapy, and I'm like, oh, I'm having a great day. I'm walking in with my little coffee. I'm like, oh, I don't even know what we're gonna talk about. And all of a sudden, I'm like crying and being like, I don't know. I don't know what I was holding, but damn.
Why did you bring me in this room? I'm just kidding. The interviews.
Oh my gosh. No, I can't wait to dive into the book, and I'm so glad you shared it with me.
Yeah.
And I think we should do like an even like, deeper like dive into it. But what are some of the other things like that you like really picked up from
that really stuck out with me? What did I tell you that I love that she talked about the strong ground? That's what the book is called, that, right? Strong ground. But it's about that she was injured, and then she had to start, because I'm this person too. Like, I've had a lot of things happen in health wise, and then I think physically, I'm nothing's wrong. Like, something will happen and I have to recover, whatever, but I want to be back to where I was at my full potential. That's not
fast.
So, and you don't want to be like a beginner forever. I keep saying that, but it's like, why am I gonna have to go through that? So anyway, I think she just is of a competitive nature, joined pickleball, was injured, and the gist of the story is that she thought it was going to be just recovery, back in it. So then she had to find like a spot, like a trainer, like a physical therapist, all this stuff, and she was like, I'm probably, feeling like I'm gonna say this because I've done this, that I'm like, I'm pretty fit, I got this. Oh my gosh, no, I will go back in and be like, girl, you can barely do like one sit-up. And so she talks about that, in that this trainer that he talked to her about having a strong ground, that he said he was not going, you don't build on a broken
foundation,
or weak, I think it's broken. I mean, you don't have to listen to her talk about it, but it stuck again with me, that I was like, yeah, you cannot. So you have to kind of have your strong ground, which is like, how do you, are you, in everywhere in life, like, right? Like, this is almost like emotional regulation. So you're able to control, or like not control, but be, under the line, above the line, be regulated, and in all aspects of your life. So building on that is very important. We can't just go in there and be like, I'm gonna do 100 sit-ups and I'm ready for, 5 days of pickleball.
Yeah.
So the gist is like that we have to go in and focus on how do we get our strong ground, which whatever that is for you, which is your values, which is how you lead your life, what is work, your family, your relationships, all that. Like, where are you finding that strong ground to be able to go through the rest of things, because if you're going in like in a broken, think about it, and you're adding and you're coming in with your 1,000 bricks of everything else
Mm-hmm.
that you're trying to handle, that's going to crumble.
Absolutely.
And which is what has happened to both of us, right? That you will crumble. And there, you're going to have to find your way out. I mean, God's always going to be there with us, but you're going to have to,
Yeah.
you know. So I think finding a way to build, I really like those words, like a strong foundation, right? So that's why I think for me this week, having that moment where I was like, I need to be for me, right? What do I need to actually look in and do? That was like my example of having my like strong ground for me,
Yeah.
you know. It took about 12 hours, but
Same. Same.
I about to get there.
I was like, oh yeah, yeah. As I have the book on the nightstand, I'm like,
You could do the audiobook too, though. I love the audiobook. There's so many of the podcasts right now. I love that because I feel like I've gotten little clips here and there of the whole thing. And I've always loved her work. Like, it's my dream to sit in a
oh my
place where she's
gosh.
speaking or like anything. I'm like, I just want to do that the
Yes.
rest of my life.
Yes.
Maybe in my late
Yes.
50s.
Look, I was proud of myself that I wasn't under the covers. I was like, okay, at least the room, I
You were
organize it and it's on top of the covers and I have a little desk thingy. So I'm pretending that I'm like, work or
Yeah.
semi
Yeah,
working.
yeah.
So at least I was kind of productive. Usually before I would have been all out,
Yeah.
way below the line,
Yeah,
under the
yeah.
covers, like
Yeah.
phone, Netflix, not even like the TV.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
and don't call me, don't
Yes.
even walk in here.
Oh, yeah. And
So it's improving, and
Yes.
it goes like we've talked about
Yeah.
before. The time frame is shorter. I'll be under the line
Yes.
for
Quickly. You're
yeah,
able
but
to
I
bounce back.
recover.
It's what it comes
Yeah.
back. Yeah, remember, and the big one that we talked that we laughed at all about was about that discipline gives us freedom.
Yes.
And remember her example? You remember the one she talked about her?
I love it when you're like, you remember, and I'm
hair-
like, I don't
the hair,
remember.
because we laugh so hard, and you're like, I do that too.
What was the hair one?
About that she doesn't like to schedule her hair appointments. She's
Oh,
there 'cause
yes.
she's like, I'll just get in later. And
Oh yeah, and then we're like running behind and being like, please fit me in.
yeah, yeah.
Literally because we were in the car together.
And I had to
And I get a call, and it was like for my birthday. I was trying to get my hair done, and they couldn't fit me in. And then I'm like, below the line. Like, what do you mean you can't fit me in? Well, you're the one that called 2 days before. Like, why didn't you book? Same thing with the eyebrows. I'm like, what do you mean you don't have availability on a Saturday in the middle of the day? Like,
Yeah.
I know I didn't book it, but
Yes.
please squeeze me in. I need it.
Yeah.
Like you don't know how often your eyebrows grow. Like you should know this by
Yes,
now.
yeah.
You're a grown woman.
So
But discipline definitely.
gives
I
us
think
freedom.
in everything.
Yeah.
And I, in the past, felt like, oh well, I don't want the discipline because that gives me freedom. I can choose and be
Mhm,
flexible. But
mhm.
then I'm stressed out AF, right?
Mhm.
So really, the discipline is what brings that freedom into our life. So I'm
Yeah.
starting to implement that a lot more.
I think I found it resonated with me because I thrive on it with the ADHD. Like, if I am disciplined and I have the order, then I'm gonna be good.
But I
The
still
minute-
fight it.
No, I
don't know
I wanted
why.
to be like a spontaneous person. All those things. It's not good for me. It's fun for a while, but no, you're not gonna get anything done. Like, I've had to, the words that she says, like, you use them a lot. It's like I've had to be just locked in. Like, okay, what does it look like? You need to go and face it. Go and do what you need to do so you have the freedom.
Yeah.
Because we tend to ride me ADHD will be like, later, I got time. I got and then I'm like, oh, I forgot to send 5,000 emails, or I forgot to get this shipped out, or
Yes.
I didn't get this done, or, want my hair. Like, yeah, I'm religious right now with my hair. The start of this year that I was like, nope, I have two appointments booked out, and they're in my calendar, and I respect them. I
Yeah.
kind of gauge. I know that these windows I can come in, but I don't leave it anymore to chance.
Especially the
Because it's
busier you
important.
get, the more you put it in your account, it does make life so much easier.
Yeah, and having that discipline. So we talked about how making time for friends, making time for yourself, making all those things, that's showing discipline as well, because you're putting it into your calendar and you're going to make it happen. Like, you're taking actions instead of thinking you're whimsical.
Whimsical.
And,
I know, I was
you're
gonna use that.
frolicking, and you're just going to go and you have free time. Those days are done for us.
Yeah, maybe high school.
They'll come
back.
back one day, supposedly, according to the empty nesters.
Oh my! So if you haven't read the book, definitely get the audiobook, get the book.
Yeah.
It is phenomenal, and I
Yeah.
can't wait to talk about more like the focus part,
Yes.
because I'm starting to
Yeah.
implement some of those
Yeah.
strategies, and we'll talk about those, I think, on another episode.
Yeah.
But
So we definitely recommend, sticking to find what under the line and above
Yeah.
the line.
Use your-
Learn to learn at least what that means, and see how. Just be curious with yourself and see how your days are as far as how that goes.
And I think it makes all relationships. What a gift. Like I actually
Yeah.
would love to teach my kids this. I am going to teach
Yeah.
the kids because when they get into relationships, when they get into right, or like you're just the overwhelm of life, like you're in college and you're talking to a professor or you have a boss, being able to say these things in a respectful way and be like, I could step away versus when you're just looking at that person and all you're just seeing their lips move because you're spiraling in your
You're like,
head and you have like
yeah.
this heat and this
Yes, you're
tension
like
in your chest that
you're like
yeah,
already like
that I think we've all felt
and
because
then
you're
already
like
you get defensive, you get tense. Like I said,
yeah,
describe your body. It's like this,
the lump
right?
in your
Just like,
throat because you're
yes.
like I want to see so much. But I
Yes.
can't say it so
Yeah.
much because
And I
you
should
know.
have said later. You walk away with all the anger. Like it's just the whole cycle.
Yeah, and then if you do say something, sometimes it's like you can't cuss at your boss. You know, like you and
So
I know some
knowing-
people that
Yeah.
have because again you're so under the line that it's not even logical anymore. You're just like I'm gonna say whatever.
And even in relationships with with your partners, with your children, with your friends, people. I mean, they lose it all the time.
Yeah.
At this day and age, right? We know that. That's why I said I feel like society as a whole, we're all writing that. We're trying to get
We're walking on like a the tightrope.
We're like everybody. We're like stay on top, and everybody's like, no, I like it down here. Oh, no, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So yeah, it will be. We'll keep talking about it.
Nervous system regulation.
Yes.
I think it is key. So
Yeah.
read up about it. We've done some other episodes that talk about how to regulate the nervous system.
Yeah. Give some tips.
Yes. For me, humming. I know it just sounds weird, right? But like even today when I meditated this morning, I'll just and we can end with this or we.
Yes.
But I used to always think meditation was funny, and I'm like, am I going to sit there and be like, But that vibration, like, stimulates the vagus nerve, and so now if I don't want to do all that, I just kind of like keep my mouth closed, and I'm like, and it does help.
Well, it does.
Like it just was like soothing, and it set my day off right.
Yeah.
And I lit a little candle and made an intention, and then I remember I didn't do that yesterday. I was like, these are the little things that literally take 2 minutes, and it just kind of.
It could be.
Yeah, I started my day on the right foot.
Yeah, and it could be literally like 3% of your day. Like it's not, it can be done. It's just
it's not a don't have time because I used to be big. I don't have time.
Yeah.
We probably have 2 minutes.
We all say that. Everybody's like, I don't have time for a walk. I'm like, but do you have time for 3 shows? Like really? I tell myself this, guys. I'm like, anyway. Yes. So anyway, we'll definitely keep circling back to that as we wrap up the year.
So stay Delulu and make it happen.
And don't forget to subscribe and like. See you next time. Bye. Bye. Oh, I have something for you, Becca.